Hello, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity for us to share our story of LetsBloom. I want to start with the team because I'm here by myself, but this team comes from enterprise tech, it comes from cybersecurity, it comes from a risk and compliance background. Right? It's super important because they're working round the clock to help enterprises around the world accelerate cloud adoption, accelerate AI adoption, do that with security, compliance, pre-built security, pre-built compliance, and data sovereignty observability controls, right? So why is this important? If you think about, and we've got representation from the AWS side, if you think about how cloud generally gets adopted in large enterprise, there is a service onboarding element, right? And this is the act of cloud engineering teams building security controls for each of these services. This often takes 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, and even keeps going. Even at the end of 2 years, they would have onboarded 15, 20, maybe 50, 60 services, but that's not the only services that the enterprise wants to use. So that's a huge problem because that really inhibits organizations to take their data onto the cloud. Why does it do that? Because there is a dance that happens. It happens between the engineering firm, between the engineering teams, the ICS or the cybersecurity teams, and the risk and compliance teams. They want to see evidence against not just regulatory requirements, but also against their internal policies, also against industry standards like a CIS or NIST. Now that is super complex. It's super complex based on the way it's being done today. So we've built a platform which provides two core capabilities. The first one is observability. We are able to instantly provide observability for any workload on any cloud, not just public cloud, even moving on to the hybrid cloud, and yes, we can actually do this on a private data center as well, against any industry standard, so CIS, NIST, that's an example, against any regulator's tech risk requirements. So we've got a client in Dubai, they use DFSA and they use CIS. That's what they care about. We've got clients in Singapore, they use Monetary Authority of Singapore. We've got clients in New York who use NYDFS, right? Why we've been able to do that? We've aggregated the control objectives and build controls, and we keep them current along the way. Now that gives you observability, which is super important. The second part is building controls which are pre-built, right? If an organization is going to build patterns and controls and take 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, it's not going to cut the mustard. No one can wait for those services. So by using our patterns, they've got the controls. If there is any drift, we are able to detect that. We can give remediation guidance, and it can be remediated. We are selling to banks, to financial institutions, right? We've got some good traction over there. It is super important because they are heavily regulated. There is a very high bar, and they want to make sure that if a regulator comes knocking, they're able to provide the evidences that are required. We're selling into fintechs who are targeting the banks because, frankly, during their sales process, they get asked a ton of questions. Their sales cycles go from 6 months to 12 to 18 months. And if they get the observability, they're able to prove in real time on the workload level, not by completing Excel spreadsheets, which generally happens, and having intellectual debates about it. The third part is system integrators, right? Today you've got ProServe, professional services people coming and building solutions for you. Now in Southeast Asia, one of the big four uses our platform to conduct security impact assessments for their clients. They've done it for a Japanese bank, they've done it for a Thai bank, they've done it for a data provider. They're actually taking it to organizations beyond financial institutions. Because if you think about data security, compliance, cloud security, cloud compliance, it's required for every organization, not just for the financial industry or a regulated industry itself. To grow our business, like we've been in a journey, right? We went commercially live on 30th November 2021. I remember that because I took a break after that. And in January of 2022, we got immensely lucky and we got our first customer. I think that was super lucky, but we learned a lot, right? In the first year, we had a bit of sales. We built a business we had revenue of about $400,000 US. In the next year, we grew the business 3x and we crossed $1 million, right? That was important. But we had a lot of learnings around the sales cycles, the challenges that happen around that. So we are focusing on the partnerships. The SI or the Big Four was a proof point. We've now got partnerships in place, either working or especially where joint bids have gone to tier 1 top financial institutions. We've also partnered with cloud providers, with one of the cloud majors, not AWS unfortunately yet, right? With one of the cloud majors, and I'll name it. Like let's take GCP. They have a committed backlog of $74 billion. That's a huge piece. And then we have got direct sales and product-led growth. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions from jury?
Tunç, I'm sure you have questions. I'm going to ask one question first. Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
Do you see like down the road that the cloud providers themselves will be offering this level of security and onboarding will get easier and faster? I mean, sure. Even for complex regulated industries, we haven't been seeing 12 to 14 months anymore like we were a few years ago.
Well, actually, firstly, the 12 to 14 months is probably an understatement. If you look at, and I could give you data points around that across the globe, not just for any one specific geography. Cloud providers will always provide the capabilities, right? So that you can configure the workloads and the controls based on your internal policies. But the cloud providers are never going to take a risk on their balance sheets by providing compliance assurance, right? So of course we use the capabilities that are provided by the cloud providers, right? We look at the data that's provided by the cloud providers. But for a cloud provider to build this and scale this and make it a vertical offering means that they've got to take a risk on their balance sheet. Plus, cloud providers have a huge set of customers, not just for one vertical. Yeah.
So, I mean, my question was similar to Sharif's, but I mean, what I want to understand is where do you want to go?
Yep.
So, I mean, I see a strong, focus on channel creation, which is great.
Yep.
But then also, it's a very hot topic also. So, do you have what's your vision at the moment?
Totally. So look, we really want to be the foundation layer that powers AI adoption, that powers cloud adoption. What that means is, like today, a bank has used our platform to leverage OpenAI, and they've brought their data onto our platform. They've used it for other generative AI services from other platforms. They've brought their data on board. So whenever anybody is trying to use an AI service, they would want security controls, they would want compliance controls, they want continuous monitoring, they want drift detection, they want remediation, they want to evidence that to their client, to their regulators. That's the layer that we wish to dominate.